Welcome back. The South African Council of Churches has launched a new program called Anti-Xenophobia Action. The council has described the death of Mozambican taxi driver Mido Macia as xenophobia. Well, joining us in studio now is Reverend Gift Moerena. Very good morning to you, Rev. Thank you so much for joining us. Why have you taken up this cause?
I should actually report to the nation that in 1981, back in 1981, the Central Committee of the World Council of Churches identified the problem of movement of people around the continent as a reality, and that is part of the world politics. So migration is here to stay with us, and it will remain. And therefore, in 2004, at its conference, national conference, the South African Council of Churches took a resolution number 6 that speaks to xenophobia. That by then we realized that there were indications around the country that some individuals were becoming or practicing tendencies of xenophobia, trying to isolate or to treat other foreign nationals, very badly. And Council resolved in that conference that the SACC should revive its ministry, because all along we had a ministry for refugees. We catered for the refugees from Mozambique in the 80s up to the 90s. And now we realize after 2008, 4 years later after we took that resolution, that we know what happened around Gauteng province.
And more recently, Reverend, the incident involving Mido Macia and his death, you've called it a xenophobic attack. Do you think it would not have happened if Mido Macia was South African?
That's actually the feeling from the residents of Davidton. That's how they expressed the incidents, even at a memorial service where I was present. That the people were asking, is it because he is a Mozambican? That's why maybe his life was treated so cheap. So we were trying to mitigate against all these angers of anger to say, yes, it's a wrong thing to happen. And we know Ms. Machel was there, and we tried actually to continue working together with the Mozambicans.
And Reverend, you've just described to us your long-standing relationship and fight against xenophobia. Tell us what you found, especially when it comes to this particular angle. There's the view that in more affluent black suburbs or communities, you don't find xenophobia because people are not battling for scarce resources there, whereas in the poor communities where people are battling to make ends meet, they would see foreigners as people who are taking their jobs, as people who are backlogging or clogging up the health care system. Have you found this in your dealings with xenophobia?
The reality is there that because of international and internal migration, our systems actually are really facing challenges. But it's always not true to say foreigners are here to take our jobs. They are doing their best for survival. They are not actually getting into the market necessarily, but they create their own jobs. And they also create jobs for South Africans. But what actually the program seeks to achieve is that we would like to make our people who come from across Limpopo, we are saying to them, this education actually is directed to them as well, to say, when you come to the country, a foreign country, make sure that we've got correct papers. And make sure that when you are in that country, like in South Africa, you must respect the laws of the country, the bylaws, like in the city of Joburg. We are covering the whole country with this program. We have been to KZN, we have been to Western Province, we are from Limpopo, we are now in Gauteng, where we are trying to educate our brothers and sisters to say, try to make sure that when you come here, we've got papers, and when we are here, Don't group yourselves. Integrate in the community so that you become part of that community. Because there's a danger sometimes. You move around the city of Joburg, you find a group of Nigerians staying together, and they even name areas after their own countries, the cities in their own countries, Lagos and so on and so on. Then we say that is not integration. When we integrate, we want to see you becoming part of the community. And by going to Davidton tomorrow, we are actually, is part of the road show that actually we started in KZN to say to the people of South Africa, of Gauteng, let's accept that migration is here to stay with us. And we want to have a dialogue to assist our communities to accept and integrate these people in their own communities.
And lastly, Reverend, what would you have to say to the authorities in South Africa? You have reports of our borders being porous, of government not doing enough to help the integration and to help with migration. How has the South African government dealt with this, adequately or inadequately in your view?
Our resolution actually speaks to the whole area of policy. We would like actually to see our government improving on its policies. Policies that are friendly to foreigners so that when they are here, they can actually, the process can be much more quicker than the way they are struggling at the moment. But we acknowledge and appreciate the efforts that they are making. But I think we can improve on that.
Oh, thank you very much for your time, Reverend. Was Reverend Gift Moerena of the SA Council of Churches. Let's take a look at our headline stories up next.